18th, 2013, Finance Committee, Milford. We have a short meeting, I hope, tonight. Minutes first.
Move to approve.
Which one? February 6th. Budget Subcommittee meeting.
Overall, I can't. Move to approve.
Second.
All in favor? Nobody opposed. January 9th.
Motion approved.
Second.
Any discussion?
Who made the motion?
Jerry.
Are we gonna bring up some of these issues on the old business later on?
Let me finish this. All in favor? Opposed? Which ones?
I was just, you know,
What are we looking at? The
the
minutes?
youth commission is one that's on here about the.
We'll talk.
Okay, I just wanted,
Yep.
under old business,
Yep.
I don't wanna do it now.
Is Len here? Come on down. Oh, before we do that, hold on, Len, 1 second. Before we do that, Lou wants to introduce the new town administrator.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The purpose this evening is twofold. First of all, I wanted to come and thank you folks for everything you've done for the town of Milford and for myself personally the last 17 years. We've had some wild discussions, a lot of issues during that time. We always didn't agree on all of them. I always felt though that I appreciated your remarks, respected them, and after the meeting, we remained friends. Thank you for that. I probably more than anyone realized the amount of work that you people put in and the long hours you spend. And again, I thank you. I'd like to recognize you for that. And thank you for that. And just tell you this is my last meeting. I'm going to be leaving right now. But I would like to introduce Rick Villani, who is my successor. He'll be taking the helm on April 1st, and I'm sure you'll show him the same courtesy and friendship that you've shown me. So again, I thank you all.
Louis, before you leave, I think this board appreciates the service that you gave to this town as well. I mean, we spent a lot of time together, you and I personally. We became friends. We argued probably almost every other morning.
Probably every morning. Which is good.
And we're gonna miss you. I'm gonna miss you, and I know most of these guys will too. Rick has big shoes to fill. But I'm sure that he'll be successful as you are. Again, we appreciate what you've done for the town.
Thank you very much.
And we'll
Thank
see.
you all.
We'll see you April.
Louis.
All right, Louis.
Lou, enjoy your retirement, Lou.
Rick, you want to come down, say a few words, or you just, because we usually have eggs in here, so.
Just real quick, I don't want to take up any of your time. I've heard great things about the work you do. I know this town's in the position it is due to your hard work, a great deal of it, and I look forward to working with you. I look forward to learning from you. And my door will always be open, and hopefully we can carry on what you have been doing with Louis, and I'm looking forward to it. Welcome aboard. Thank you very much.
Welcome.
Exactly, welcome aboard.
Appreciate it.
No problems. Any questions for Rick? No? Enjoy the rest of the meeting.
Thank you.
Quick escape.
Len? Next item I have on the list is technology. Let me give you a little synopsis of what I mean by technology. In my opinion, I think it's time for the Finance Committee and the town to move forward with the technology available today. What I'd like to propose to this committee is that we, as a committee, go out and purchase either an iPads or Android tablets or Microsoft Surface, give one to everybody here, sign them out, obviously, we'll go through the capital stuff, for your term on this committee, as long as you're on the committee. And the budgets, all of our paperwork, or most of our paperwork, I would like to have put up on our website, and so we can all reference it without carrying around books and without carrying around paper. I know the Microsoft Surface is Windows 8. Most people are familiar with Windows as opposed to Androids, and iPads, and it comes with Word, Excel, and everything, so you can manipulate data. I think it's time we start moving the technology that way and getting rid of all of this extraneous paper. And I asked Len to look into what it would cost. I'm guessing probably around 8 or 9K for all of us. And I would like to add it to the budget, our budget, and when I present the budget at town meeting, it will be one of the issues I bring up at town meeting at the reason our budget will increase that much money. So before we discuss it, let me hear what Len has to say, because I did speak with him and gave him some information about what my intentions were.
My name is Len Boudry. I am the town's Chief Technology Officer, and I'm just going to give you some information so you can all make an informed decision on which kind of direction you like to go. I would like to say that I think it is long overdue for the Finance Committee to have something like this that they can reference while you're here and when you're at home, to have access to all the data without lugging around books of the financial work. As we all know, the financial work can be page after page of stuff, of a lot of minutia. And you just can't just carry this stuff around, and have access, because you need, I know you all work full time, and so you want to access this stuff in your free time. So it just impetus to just move forward with something like this. Now, that being said, there's 3 directions to go as far as tablets. You certainly wouldn't want to go. You could go a thin notebook, small notebooks like a Dell XPS, which is small and lightweight, but they run in the $700 range, and I think that is probably overkill for something like this. The other things that you have for options would be iPads, which I'm not a big fan of. The reason is iPads require iTunes. You need an iTunes account, and whenever you turn on it, it automatically connects to iTunes all the time, and it really sucks your bandwidth from your bandwidth is how much data your tablet is absorbing at any one time. So it's constantly checking and sending constantly, and I think it would just overload everything. I mean, in this room, even if you put its own router in this room, it would just be complete overkill to have say 12 iPads all running simultaneously. It's not a direction to go. So the other 2 items would be a Google tablet, 10-inch tablet, and they use Android. When you open a document with Android, like you go to a website, you open a document, it automatically translates that document to, say, if it's an Excel spreadsheet, so you can view it as itself. So it has built-in documentation of transfer. And of course, you'd all need to learn how to use that. All right. Prices for something like that run between $400 and $500. All right. $400 for I would say, but if you bought them in bulk, you would probably spend $400. Okay. As far as what its capabilities are, everything works seamlessly, just like you go on the internet. I have a Google phone. Everything you use would just automatically, when you go to a browser, you go to a website, go to the site's documents and download things, it'll automatically look at the documents, it'll find the right translator and automatically open things up for you. So, but there's a learning curve. Now, the other type of tablet that's out there right now is Microsoft Surface. That runs Windows 8, another very nice operating system. They're selling it on a lot of laptops. I work with a bunch of them, and that's a nice operating system. It also is the ability to interface with something we use in town all the time called SkyDrive, where you all would have an account on Outlook Live. I would just create an account for each one of you on Outlook Live. And that account gives you an account called SkyDrive, which is a 7 gigabyte account on the cloud. Cloud is really just somebody else's server. And it gives you the ability to put documents there, and you can access them from anywhere that you are, whether you have your tablet or not. You can still access those documents on any PC just by going to skydrive.com, logging in, and looking at your documents, all right? They also translate, when you go to log into something like SkyDrive and you open up a document, it translates itself also. So it has its own built-in translators. So whatever type of document you're looking at, a spreadsheet, a Word document, a PDF file, it automatically opens that stuff up also, okay? So as far as what you want to view, both systems, whether it's Android or a Microsoft Surface, it's the same thing. So, but you don't need to stick with, Microsoft Surface tablets are more expensive. They run closer to the 500, a little higher than the $500 range, all right? They're not in the $400 range by any means, even in bulk. Yeah. But you can get a Dell Latitude tablet 10-inch, okay? So this is another alternative for you. And it's the same size. I like these actually out of all of the tablets that are out there. I'll tell you why in a moment. But it is basically the same thing as a Slate. It's 10-inch. It'll run you somewhere around $400, very close to $400. And it's a 10-inch tablet, runs Microsoft Windows 8. And it'll do all the exact same things as, say, a Surface tablet will do, all right? Because the only difference between a Surface tablet and the Dell Latitude tablet is the manufacturer. That's the only real difference, okay? The good part about the Latitude is you can change the batteries. It has a thin battery in the back. You can have a backup battery and keep it with you, and you can actually swap batteries out. And there's no tablets on the market these days that can do that. I think that's a real plus. And
Come with a keyboard?
They do not come with keyboards.
No, you have to add the keyboard.
Yeah, you'd have to add a keyboard onto that, yes. Right. Now, most of these tablets work like your phones. It's all touch screen. So when you touch an item, a virtual keyboard comes up, and then you would use the virtual keyboard. That's how all the tablets work. They work just like your phone. You can get a cover for a Latitude or a Slate or even the Google Nexus. And the cover has a built-in keyboard, so you open it up. It has a little membrane keyboard, a touch keyboard, so that you could use a keyboard. All right? So that would be, those run in around the $50 range. They're not expensive. And if you're going to do a lot of typing, that would be something you would certainly want to have, because we all know the virtual keyboards on the telephones, they're nice, but they're not. You wouldn't want to be working on War and Peace while you're using one. So does anybody have any questions of?
Yes. Well, all right, go ahead.
All right, go ahead.
I have a number, actually. First thing, this is like deja now, where about 2 years ago,
We said the same thing.
we talked about it. No reflection on you, but I have yet to have an email account that works with my Outlook.
Yep.
That I can get into. So before we go ahead and spend 12 times,
Yep.
and again, I'm just old and conservative, I'd like to know that it's going to work once, because if we had gone ahead 2 years ago and implemented this, and I'm all for this,
Yep.
because I hate carrying all this paper, but I'd really like to make sure that I'm going to have an email account that works, that I'm going to have access to a folder,
Yep.
that I can see documents, because to buy 12 tablets, and here we are 2 years, if we had bought them 2 years ago, we'd still be waiting and hoping that we could access
Well,
our
you
documents.
would have only been waiting for me.
Not to
No,
argue.
and I'm saying it's not
Right.
you, but
Right, you would only be waiting for me. I do this all the time. I do this at the school. I do this. I do this for.
And again,
people.
I'm not,
No, I understand.
now the other question, this bandwidth issue,
Right.
now you're scaring me.
Well, bandwidth is. I mean,
Why? Because you've got 200 people upstairs
right.
that you're gonna put wireless in here?
There is
and you're-
wireless.
There's already wireless here.
So why aren't, at town meeting, why aren't we overloading the system?
You don't overload the system because the routers maintain only X amount of thought put through the router itself. So when 20 people all connect wireless to a router, and that goes off to your internet provider, it actually only proportions a certain amount of bandwidth to every party who logs in. So the more
Why
people,
am I worried about 12 people logging in at once?
oh, because of the way iTunes works.
It's if you're on an iPad.
Yeah, only on an iPad.
The
I'm willing to-
regular.
5 in my house on a mini router, and I don't have any bandwidth problem.
Well, because you have one internet connection coming into your house and only 5 iPads. See, so I mean, there's
And it only tie it up when you hit send.
Right.
Typing on the thing.
No, I can see when we first come up and it,
But not for an
Wait.
iPad. That was his point. iPad is continually sending back and forth whether
yeah,
you
iPads
use
use a
typing or
l-
not.
iPads normally use a lot of bandwidth, and they're not something.
The-
I'm discouraging it in the school district. I'm discouraging it all over because they are definitely hogs on.
but aren't they the easiest to use?
They are not. No.
Really?
They are not. They're easier to use if you have only used an iPad or an Apple computer your whole
I'm a
life.
PC guy, but I worry that some of our members aren't technology buffs. And it seems like those iPads, you pop them into somebody's hands, they're using them.
Well, they don't work. They're not as simple to use as you think. They have to translate pictures. If you're going to have pictures and things, you have to translate pictures. You know what I mean? There's a lot of things to them that for what you're doing right now will not work as seamlessly as you wish. If you're all educators and you are going to bring your iPads to school and do something with a bunch of kids, that I would say that's probably a great thing to do because there's a lot of applications for that. But for what we're doing here, that is not
So
the
now, when you
case.
set up the system with my little tablet, it's a good size, it's better than my phone.
Be 10 inches.
But if I want to use for a spreadsheet my 17-inch laptop,
Yeah.
can I log in?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Again, the only skepticism you're hearing is I've been asking for that for 2 years, and it was always, no, we can't, no, we can't.
I mean, not to argue, but I haven't had a problem doing it, and I put stuff up on that drive that Rob set up. Every time we give out the address of that thing, sometimes it worked, and sometimes it didn't. And
Right.
that was the problem.
Well, first of all, I've never heard about this drive that's been set up, so I don't have any idea about
It's
this.
on our server. What he's talking about is a SkyDrive on somebody else's server, on an
I hear
provider
you, but we
server.
still need to maintain it, you need the access, somebody's got to set it up.
Right.
Well, as far as first of all, as far as setting it up, as soon as you set up an Outlook Live account, which is a web account, okay, you automatically get the SkyDrive account, and each one of you will have your own SkyDrive account. Now, if you wanted,
That's not the objective.
right, I know the objective is to put it all in one place.
One place.
So to do that, all we actually need to do is to set up a SkyDrive account called, say, Finance Committee. And that account would be the place where you could all put your documents. And then you could all go there, get your documents, bring them to your own site, and do what you want with them. Okay? And then you all have it electronically.
Now, to communicate, we were told 2 years ago we're supposed to be using the Milford MA email so that it's all logged. Is that still the case? Or
Well,
would
that
we-
will be the case when someone puts email addresses for you, yes. I don't know if you've been, I don't know where you stand on having your Outlook MA account.
We don't.
We couldn't get in.
Well, we did.
I have my
we-
Outlook.
We have
Yeah.
one.
Well, there's a difference between Outlook and the Outlook Live. Outlook Live is a web account. You would go to outlook.milfordma.com,
Okay.
And that is where you'd log in with your email address and your password. You wouldn't get it through your Outlook.
My Outlook access it?
No, it could be set up.
Yes.
If you came here during the day sometime, I could set that up for you.
Because that was the key.
Al.
I don't want to have to
What-
try 3 times a day,
Right.
logging into a specific
Sure.
email.
What I did, we have a finance committee account, that's the one that's on the website.
Just sync it.
All the mail,
That's all I
that-
want to know.
all the mail
I
that
need
comes,
permission.
Yeah, I could do it on your phone
Yeah, all
or
the mail.
whatever, however you wanted it.
all the mail
You
that's
have to give
addressed,
us the-
all the
Yeah,
mail,
I can do that for you. Matter of fact, we could, at one of the meetings, I could actually get you all going at once. Sorry.
all the mail that comes to the finance committee comes to my home Outlook address. I
Cool.
forwarded all the mail.
That's what I wanted from the beginning.
Okay, it's not a problem.
Okay, so,
Now, the real question is, do all the public buildings, do all the Milford public buildings in town have wireless connection, Wi-Fi?
no, I'm just getting,
Will they?
well, I'm just getting started on that. I'm hoping, I mean, this upcoming year, I'm gonna make a enormous push to get Wi-Fi in all of the public buildings.
Talking fire department, police department, library has it.
Library's
We have
all
it
set.
here. Schools have it. The youth center has it. So there's only a couple public buildings left. It's where we have meetings is the issue.
Well, if you tell me where you have your meetings, I can make sure that there, Wi-Fi is set up there. I mean, that's all there is to it. I mean,
Mostly all the public buildings in town.
yeah, so wherever you're gonna have, meetings, we'll make sure, I mean, I'm still in the process of identifying where some of the, Wi-Fi spots are, and I've been replacing some of them so you get better coverage. And, in the next few months, I'm gonna bring in some new equipment so I can manage some of the wireless, the Wi-Fi, the routers themselves via the internet. So when someone calls or having a meeting, hey, we can't get on because there's a problem, I could actually log in from somewhere else, see what the problem is, fix it, and then get you back on.
What about having Verizon set up a town-wide wireless hotspot or 2 hotspots? So we don't have to worry about where we go. We're on Verizon, and we just hook up to the Wi-Fi spot, the hotspot, and we play our games.
Right now, my understanding is Verizon is putting a major emphasis on the western part of the state, as far as fiber and wireless. They're not doing much out in this part of the state.
Well, we already have fiber in town. We all have, we have FiOS here. The question is whether they put up enough,
Would they put
Hotspots.
hotspots up?
would they put hotspots up?
I would say no, but I don't, I'm just talking from my point of view, from working with Verizon about stuff like this. I would say they have little or no incentive to give away free Wi-Fi. I don't see that happening.
They do it throughout all the major cities.
Well, that's not completely true. They do it, they have certain spots in cities. Yeah, there are certain spots, and they might even be doing it in Boston at the public library. But I know outside of the public library, there's really no Wi-Fi, except for private
Mark,
businesses.
I'll tell you what, I'll take that
Why
out.
wouldn't we ask right now?
The cable group.
No, all he's talking about is setting up these accounts and access. Well, a lot of us have phones that
Yeah.
are dumb. A lot of us have tablets already.
Okay.
So why do I have to wait? If this is all great, let me
Yeah.
start using it now.
Well,
I mean, I can use my own laptop.
Got one in the car.
we can all do that.
Yeah,
That's not,
I
And I'm
mean,
not saying
no question.
instead of, but
Right.
if
No,
this
no,
is a
I-
good thing, why do I have to wait 3-6 months? Why don't I start now?
You don't need to wait. I haven't said you need to wait 3 to 6 months. What I'm saying is, if I get everybody's name here tonight, by the end of this weekend, I'll have your accounts all set up on Outlook Live, and then I can show you all. We could all, get together, show you how to do it. We'll set up your email accounts on your cell phones if you have a smartphone, and you're off to the races.
Yeah, the only downside is we don't have all the documents on PDF put up on the system yet.
That would be the next thing. Yeah.
Can I
Excuse
just
me.
ask a quick question? Just because I have a Hotmail account, I use my SkyDrive all the time, share this and that. Sometimes Hotmail goes down. Is there any alternative to make a drive locally on our network versus SkyDrive versus? I mean, the worst thing that could ever happen, we sit down at a meeting and all of a sudden the SkyDrive is down.
There's no option for doing that. I mean, it would be possible.
Doesn't our own internet have a drive?
It would be possible within the town hall.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm
that is
asking.
that is
So we could
possible.
have them within our own intranet, we could have a drive.
Yes, when you come in here and you log in, and you log into the network.
Yeah.
Okay, you could get set up to have access to a drive.
So that even if the internet is down, the intranet is up and we can access all the information.
Yes.
You need to take into consideration, Paul will need a
I know,
device.
and Diana will need one.
And Diana, so that'll be
Yeah,
17 devices.
Right.
And,
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you guys are the finance guys. I'm just giving you technology help.
I agree.
It's only 8K.
I just, I agree with
9K.
Al. A lot of us already have the equipment, and I had the same difficulty that you had. I could never get on without.
Everybody
That's
did.
history. Let's go forward.
Right.
So
Here you go. Set me up.
Okay, well, see, this.
All right, we can, I think we should talk about this after.
Sure.
Okay, let's move on.
Yeah, your email address will not be this.
No.
Oh, okay, all right.
Len, the only other question I had was, if we decide to go forward with one of these technologies,
Yep.
who's the best person to do the purchase? Would it be through you or through Rick?
I would think through Rick, through the
Why
town
wouldn't we go
hall.
through Rick, through the normal system?
Well, because I'm not sure what relationship the IT guy has with some of the suppliers.
Well, the IT guy can talk to the purchasing guy and.
Yeah, I will, I can get the quote for you. I can get a quote for you and just hand it off and then they can take care of it. We'll get a quote via the government,
I like going through the normal system.
website.
Yeah.
Doing it the normal
No,
way
no,
through
I
the
was,
normal town.
exactly what I meant. I
Yep.
just didn't know if he would be better to do the quote or Rick would be better, that's all.
I can get
All right,
probably
any-
a better quote.
Any other questions?
Yeah, Glenn, what tablet do you recommend? You went through the whole laundry
Well,
list.
I
Is there
would-
one that you recommend?
Yeah, the one I would recommend, the one that would be most convenient for everybody to have would be the Dell Latitude tablet, the 10-inch tablet. I would say that'll be number one. It'll be most convenient. Number two, most of you will be acclimated to the operating system already.
It's Windows?
It's Windows 8.
It's 8.
And number three, it has a replaceable battery on it, so it's, I think it's probably, I would say, that's probably one of the better ways to go, all right?
Are we safe going with 8? It is an even numbered Microsoft.
Yeah, 8's gonna be around for a very long time.
Shades of ME, Vista, it's
Oh,
the even numbered.
stop
All right,
it.
guys, that's enough. Any other, David?
Len, I have a question that's
Yep.
completely kind of off topic. Have you been in the library?
I have been,
Are
yes,
you familiar with their computer system?
yes.
Do you have an opinion on how good that system is? Because we just spent a lot of money on it.
It's wonderful. My goal
Just curious.
would be get the whole town to be at that level. You've obviously you've had the will to make that the way it is.
Okay.
And we need to get that kind of will everywhere. That's the goal.
All right, any others? Bob?
Well, just through you, Mr. Chairman, I was under the impression maybe you were going to get to this. If you are, that's fine. If not, I'd like to address it. Well, Lynn is here to talk about the things that we discussed at subcommittee meeting with the school.
School.
committee last week. Just
we
maybe
can-
if we can give this team an appreciation. as to what-
I can certainly do that, or if you would like to, that's
No,
fine.
Well,
I,
I guess the lead, and you're the chairman of the committee, it's up to you.
all right, well, we had a meeting with the subcommittee with the school department, and a discussion came up, not with the school department, a discussion came up between Louis and I 2 years ago, or 3 years ago, when we brought forward the IT director's position. At that time, we had talked about expanding that department within the last 2 years. Last year, we talked about it, and it never happened. So this year, I again talked with Louis and Bob in the school department and asked them to include in their budget 2 IT technicians to report to Len, 60% of which will be paid for by the school department, 40% by the town. He needs, in our opinion, he needs to be looking at the overall structure of the town and the big picture in the town, and the technicians can go around fixing the day-to-day problems, which will alleviate a lot of his work and, or his day-to-day stuff. I think we all agreed 3 years ago when we instituted that department that it was gonna grow. And it's time, in my opinion, and Lou's opinion, that it grows. If we're gonna move forward with better technology in this town and fix some of the problems that we have. So, just for your edification, it will be added to the school department budget.
And I think, if I may, Mark.
Go ahead.
This committee, and as have other department heads, prided themselves in making a priority the infrastructure in the town of Milford. The roads, the bridges, the buildings, et cetera. Based on what I heard at that school committee meeting, and was as a result of a presentation that I think you made, is that we have an infrastructure problem with our communication system throughout the town. And it was our understanding, I heard the term used several times, he's nothing but nothing. He's essentially a fire captain, going around putting out fires, rather than being proactive and bringing us into the 21st century with the architecture, with the fiber optics, with the voice over IP. Right now, this young man does not have the time to do it, as you referred to. So we do have a problem up there, and we're going to need some help, and help takes the form of not only personnel, but money. But it is an infrastructure problem, ladies and gentlemen. It isn't a nice-to-do thing. This is something that this town needs to move forward and be in the leadership role that we are throughout the state.
Albert.
Well, I mean, we talked about, you got 400, 500, 600 users. You know, just the normal day-to-day chair-to-keyboard interface issues that arise with 600 users. I mean, we're gonna need a worker bee.
Right, and repairs and, you know, the
But I'm just saying the
hardware-
normal stuff,
The
just,
hardware doesn't work all the time.
you know, I broke my keyboard, I did this, or I did something less than intelligent when I downloaded this patch. I mean,
Open that email.
well,
That type of stuff.
guys, I mean, any IT group you have in a company, the chair-to-keyboard interface is 90% of your issues. So you do need a basic worker bee that runs around, installs software, because we don't want to pay for that. Cleans up software, just the normal stuff. I think it's long overdue. We
Right,
talked about
well,
it.
When we get to the budgets and we get to the school department, you will see 2 extra personnel. I've also asked the school department to absorb it somehow, but right now, 2. Do it. Len, thank you, I appreciate your time. We'll talk about it and make a decision on which,
Does everybody have a business card with them? I'll take one and I can create your accounts.
no.
That list that has everybody's
Yeah,
name.
Paul has a list.
Oh, okay, good. I'll get it from Paul.
Paul has a list.
See you on Friday if you're.
Yeah.
Or I can.
Email it.
Yeah, I'll be by.
We
Yeah,
had email account names
Yep.
on the milfordma.com.
all right, well, I can
Just-
check.
Just so you know, before you go creating them,
Well, I'll check, I mean.
look at, you know, the register.
Right.
Because a lot of us did get them, and that
Okay.
was the frustration when we tried to use them. We got the service saying,
Okay.
No, thank you.
All right, well, listen, I can, if they're not set up, I can set them up, and if they are set up, I can reset them so you can start over, and we
Perfect.
can make it work for you, okay?
Then we just get our regular Outlook, because
Yes.
ideally, what I want is, like I have now, I hit a button, my Outlook
Outlook
checks
comes
home,
up, right.
work.
Right, you just want to add the account, so we
So all I
go,
want to do is add the account.
that's easy enough, okay? But you have to bring your system here so I could look at, I could get it set up for you.
We have the technology to do that.
Okay, then we're all set.
Len, thank you.
Thank you very much, everyone.
Yeah,
Nice
thank
meeting
you.
Well, we can finish this discussion by deciding what media we'd like to use. I mean, what do we want? Well, I want to put it in the budget.
But shouldn't we see something on them first?
You don't have a tablet? Nobody has seen this equipment before? You haven't seen it?
I'd move that we get the Dell tablet that he talked about, that he recommended
I think we should,
for everybody.
I don't have a problem with it. I think we should look at it. I agree with Al. I think we ought to have.
I would just like to see a spec sheet,
You're not gonna change your mind based on how it looks, they all kinda look the same.
but there's no options on the Dell?
Yeah,
Keyboard.
There are options, but for our purposes,
Well, there's options. I mean, I'll look at it.
All
I'll
I'm
pass-
saying, Mark, is
I'll look at it and I'll
let's get
pass
a
it
cut
around.
sheet
Not a
before
problem.
we vote on it, so we vote on the right
Done.
set of options and the right amount.
I
That's all.
withdraw my motion.
Thank you. All right.
I don't think there's an issue, David. He's telling us to use a Dell. If we trust the guy, we ought to go with him.
Let's move on.
Didn't have a second anyway.
Can we move on?
It was pending.
I think we should move on. What do you think?
I didn't expect that to take that long. Budget updates. Paul, you want to give us a synopsis of what you have and where we are, basically, overall generalities?
We had asked that the budgets be turned in this week.
Monday.
And so we have basically just about, is that here? Oh, yeah, thanks.
Get them on.
Please.
There you go.
Paul, sit up there.
Paul, get on camera.
okay?
Everybody, this is Paul Abendanza, financial advisor to the Finance Committee.
We had asked for all the budgets to be turned in this week, and pretty much we have gotten all the budgets in. And overall, without looking at every budget line by line, our overall budgets are within the general guidelines that were issued by the Finance Committee last month when we had sent out our memo. Some are still waiting to hear for a cost of living adjustment for Article 2 people, but most of that's already incorporated in what we have for our totals already, but not necessarily line by line items. So we're well within the guidelines we established earlier.
Any questions, Paul? All right, just to bring you further up to date, I know the school budget is over our guidelines, and we've asked the school department to come back to discuss what meeting the guidelines would mean to the students in the town. And I expect that they'll do that. We did have some major discussions about the SPED. The special education budget obviously is a non-funded mandate, and we have always funded that. The school department has gone to great lengths to bring a lot of the special education children back into the town with a cost savings of about $100,000 to $150,000 a person. So they do, especially on the autism level, they're doing really good with respect to keeping people in district. But yet their budget is over the guideline, and we have some more discussion to have about that. I asked them to submit the higher budget, so we would have a worst case scenario, because it's easy to go down, it's hard to go back up.
But are they over X special needs? I mean, if you take the special needs increases
Yes, they
out.
are. Yes, they are. Take the special needs out and they're over.
And they're still over.
Yeah. So that needs further discussion, and what I'd like to do is set up a budget subcommittee meeting and have the school department come in and give us their rationale. And I'd like to do that within the next week to 10 days. So I'll pass around an email to the exec committee and Phil and see if we can get a date together with the school department and have that final discussion, so by the April meeting, hopefully, we can finalize these budgets.
End of next week
What are you
would work.
thinking, Mark? The end of next week, is that?
I'm thinking the end of next week,
Cool.
right? But it's hard to get the school department, that's the problem. So,
Probably Wednesday, good day.
I'm sorry?
Wednesday.
Wednesday's probably the best day.
Yeah,
'cause
because we
They meet
tend
on
to keep
Thursday.
They meet
Wednesday
on
open.
Thursday.
Thursday could be tough because they have their school committee meetings.
Right. Well, what they did last school committee meeting is they canceled the school committee meeting, and actually, we had a really, really good discussion. It was an excellent meeting. It was the
Yeah.
best meeting we've had with the school department in probably 5 years.
Yeah, okay, good.
Huh?
If Wednesday,
Yeah,
We'll do, yeah.
But if
set it up for
Wednesday
Wednesday or
works-
Thursday.
Wednesday works great.
all right. I will,
Next Wednesday?
I'll get in touch
Yeah.
with them. Yeah,
Yeah,
You
don't
gonna
worry.
send us an email?
yep. This is budget subcommittee meeting. So it's the exec and Phil.
In budget.
Yeah.
Well, that is the budget subcommittee, the exec committee and Phil. I'll try for next Wednesday. What's that date? 20th?
20th.
All right. Old business.
The only thing I saw, David was gonna find out about the 30,000 at the youth commission. He already told me he doesn't.
I honestly don't know what the status is now, because I forgot to follow
From
up.
a financial point of view,
30,000 from the United Way
has not come in.
has not come in.
Okay.
My understanding, I mean, the way we left it was that they had promised, they were asked by Paul Minor, is that his name?
Yep.
From the United Way to go back and come back with an operational, not a capital plan, more of a 5-year operational plan to show that they have a sustainable operation over at the Youth Commission, and then he would release the money.
Yeah, we talked about that last
was
week.
pending.
Are we in the hole, David, without that 30 grand?
No.
We're not in the hole, partially because I think we trued them up at the last town meeting.
Then we paid that 30, that's just to replenish.
That's
just
correct.
What we
Replenish.
forwarded, Bob.
Correct.
We took
That-
it out of our money.
The,
thought so.
the
No, no,
finance.
It's not in their budget.
Gentlemen,
That money comes
gentlemen,
back to us.
Gentlemen, two things. The money that the United Way committed to pay the town is $60,000. $30,000 this fiscal year, starting July 1, which they haven't done, and $30,000 next fiscal year, starting July 1. That's to replenish the $60,000 that the town meeting voted to offset their deficit. That comes back to the general fund. The budget, the financials of the Youth Commission as of yesterday, I got a report from Zach. They are 62,000 to the good. So they've raised the 62,000 that they were in the hole, plus 60,000. They have a big fundraiser coming up this weekend. I'm not sure, how many tickets.
Additional 30, well, that'll come back to us,
Has nothing to do with them.
Yeah.
All right, so they're doing okay. They've hired a couple people, they're instituting some more programs, et cetera.
Do we know why we're not getting the 30?
He just said,
That's the
basically,
question. Yeah.
no, what Paul Minor. Go ahead, David.
The United Way wants to know that they have a very sustainable operation over there, and he doesn't want to keep throwing good money after bad. They want to know that there is a long-range vision, and they want that vision memorialized and put on paper to show that they're raising.
That doesn't exist on paper today.
Correct.
Correct.
And who is charged with the responsibility for putting that together and in what time frame?
It's the board of the Youth Commission and Sidney DeJesus, their worker staff with the board, and it's supposed to be done, they said they would have it done by, I thought, July.
Well, what you need to understand is that the United Way is paying for a consultant to come in and help them write this plan. And they've hired that consultant. So it's not costing the town.
July seemed like.
It won't be July. We told them it, in our opinion, needs to be a lot sooner than July.
Is it that complex that it can't be done in a matter of hours?
Well,
What am I missing?
it's not as simple as,
I have an article where it was founded and everything else, everything about it's.
Hours maybe.
that's not what they want. They want to know what programs they're gonna run, what
Yeah.
fundraisers they're going to do, what net profit they're going to show, and
Well,
et
they want a
cetera.
they want a business plan.
Yeah, basically, they want a business plan. That's correct.
That makes
No,
sense.
it's fine.
Makes sense, yeah.
It's absolutely fine.
Time frame.
Well,
I think there was a little bit of cushion in that time frame. We're almost in April. When I said July, I was thinking June 30th, at the end of the fiscal year, and come back here and deliver it in July.
yeah, it
So
shouldn't,
you got meetings, you gotta set up meetings with people, go back, write it, review it, and that takes time.
I agree with you. It shouldn't take that long, but we'll see.
But there's some cushion in that number. That's not like, hey, you need 3 months, right? It's somewhere in there.
Any, other old business?
Keep that in the minutes so that we keep it almost a record of it. But we'll continue to discuss this as we get closer to thoughts.
Yeah.
Discussion in the minutes.
Let it be written, let it be done.
How do you want this in?
Phil, you wanted to talk about the sewer department?
Yeah, no, that'd be good. No, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Bob DeVito and I met with John Mainini, the manager of the sewer department, in January. And they have a lot of activity going on with capital projects. So I'm gonna take a few minutes, just kind of run through the capital projects, okay?
You
From
need the overhead?
no. No, I have paper, Mr. Chairman. But in terms of their current year budget, they're running favorable in the current year. Through December, they were running at expenditures remaining some 59%, and at the 6-month point, that would be 50%. So they're trending favorable. Revenue looks good. The sewer department has a very strong balance sheet. Their balance sheet is their fund balance is almost $6 million, some 5.9. As you know, Most of that came with our transaction with Hopkinton that generated some 3.8 million of infrastructure improvements. So as a result, the sewer department has a strong balance sheet, fund balance, and they're looking to do things. They're looking to continue to repair and invest to extend the life of the sewer department. I wish John was here because he's not available, he's out of town, but it would have been helpful to have him here at this meeting. What are the things they've done? And I have a list, but they have 5 screw pumps, and they've, in the process of replacing all 5. They did 2 last year. They're doing 1 this year, they're doing 1 next year, and I think the 5th is 1 year out. So they're replacing all the screw pumps. I think 4 of them we've had for 25 years, and the 5th one we've had for 7 years, and that was defective. So again, that is a very good thing. They have a number of other projects going on. They have the sump pump project, a program where they actually inspect homes and see what homeowners are tied to our sewer system. I think they've inspected some 129 homes. Of that, 88 are connected to the system. They've actually rerouted 25 and 15, basically disconnected them. And they bought a number of equipment this year in capital, and they bought a truck. And this whole sub-pump program they're going to do in-house. So they've outsourced it in the past, but now they're going to do that in-house. They also have the I&I program, which is the infiltration and inflow, for those of you who don't know. That is a program where they're sealing the pipes in the system, and that is a 10-year program, and they estimate some $250,000 a year. That is something we've known about, and they started that 2 years ago. And their budget includes 2 significant line items. They have a plant improvement fund with a budget expenditure of $334,000, or plant replacement fund. They have a maintenance budget with a line item of $384,000. So what they're doing, they're using these line items to invest and to replace things that should be replaced. They've recently commissioned Tata and Howard to complete a comprehensive wastewater management plan. Unfortunately, this is not on our technology. This is a book and I gave Joyce her copy tonight. This is a 10-year, this is a study, it's a 10-year plan. It's probably gonna cost some $2 million, but these are estimated numbers, and I kinda need John to kinda tweak some of the numbers. But again, this is an approach to ensure that the equipment is extended, that the plant is updated, and I think the most significant expenditure here is regarding the sledge. Of the $2,700,000 is for sledge, of which, and I guess what they want to do is increase the sledge from 6% to 6% from 3%, and I think if you take more sledge out, you have better flow, okay? So that's a little update in terms of what's going on. But, you know, I really kind of congratulate the sewer department for being aggressive and doing things, you know, for the most part, you know, through line items in their budget, and then, you know, looking down the road and doing studies to ensure that the equipment stays in place and is current. So, any questions?
I have a question.
Yes.
I
Yes,
apologize,
David.
I do not know what sledge is.
Yeah, it's I think it's as it sounds, David.
I looked it up on Wikipedia, and apparently it doesn't show up as a word.
Huh? Sludge. Sludge. Oh, thank you.
Oh, sludge, oh, thank you. Oh, I understand, sludge, okay.
He's a friend, he's a friend, yes, yes.
I withdraw the question, it should have been obvious to me.
Yes, it should have been, actually.
All right.
Any other questions?
Any other new business? I have one. I know the long-term capital subcommittee's been looking at all of their good stuff, and I think we'll ask for an update next meeting, but what I asked Jerry Moody to do, town council, is to put an article on the warrant to establish another capital stabilization account. The reason, and the subcommittee and we talked about this, the reason being that instead of putting articles on the warrant on an annual basis for town painting the town hall, for you know, doing the fire chief's $1 million truck and putting money every year. If we just put money in a stabilization account, not the one that we're going to use for long-term debt, this is a separate one, and we add money to that, we'll at least get some interest on it, and every year whatever we have extra, we can put into that account, and when the big ones come up, like the $1 million truck, we take it out of there. The other advantage to that is that it takes a 2/3 vote to do it, so we have to make a good presentation at town meeting. The proponent does. And I think it's a safe place to put some good money at this point in time. So I asked Jerry to add it to the warrant, so we will have that article. And I think he's gonna put one on for the regular stabilization account as well.
Should, because that's in our budget.
No, but that's for this fiscal year.
You mean for next?
No, I want to establish the account this fiscal year and put money into it this fiscal year. We have 1.3 million in free cash. Like to see it go into those two stabilization accounts at the annual town meeting, and then we'll look at the fall, when we see what the free cash number is in the fall, and decide as a group what we should put to both of those accounts, if anything additional. All right?
I like it, because we gotta deal with, you know, you look at Tui Toys at $1 million.
Exactly.
I mean, that,
Makes the planning so much easier.
All right, the other thing that I wanted to bring up, and I know we've had this discussion, is the special election primary. And one of the questions that I asked Amy was if we can combine the town election with the special primary election and have one election. And the state came forward and said, yeah, that's exactly what you should be doing, so we will in fact have one election. The town election will be moved to April 30th, and we'll vote both for in the primary for the new senator replacement and the town vote. So we'll save some money, we'll save some police money, and you know, but it's gonna be different because there's gonna be 2 ballots. So they can't combine the ballots. So it'll be 2 different counts, and maybe 1 or 2 extra workers at the polls, poll workers, and counters, but it will be less than what 2 elections would have been. That brings you up to date on that.
You're talking about the primary
Yeah, April.
on the same,
Correct.
30th.
Right.
The election would be in June?
June, that's separate. We can combine it with town meeting, but
Yeah,
I don't think so.
but there still will be an additional,
Never mind.
you're still gonna have one, Vinnie, you're just not gonna have two additional.
Right.
right, you're gonna have an additional cost for that election in June.
Correct.
But once, not twice.
Not
Yes.
twice.
It's already budgeted, right?
No.
No. Any other questions?
Motion to go home?
Second? All in favor? Not open for discussion. Thank you, gentlemen.
Can I ask you a question?